Action.
All right, switch the unit over to heat mode. Again, we checked the TD. Took my return temperature, I had 75 degrees, or sorry, 73 degrees. Put it in to my supply, double check that. We're coming out at 100 degrees, so we're getting 27 degrees across the coil, which is good, really good for a heat strip. It's an 8 kW. You always want to see what size kW. It should be written on the air handler, or you can look at the label and it should be marked what size it is. If you don't have either one of those, usually you'll find a label on the inside on what size it is. Now it's really important to check the amperages and make sure your heat strip's not over amping. We're leaving the unit on, so you need to be very careful where you're working, what you're touching. Carefully remove the panel. Get your amp probe. Now the power's on. I don't like to reach into the panel too much that you couldn't bump into. So with checking the heat strips, what I usually do is I'm going to put my amp probe on amps. I'm going to take that fan amp again while the door's off, because it's going to be slightly different from when we were closing it off with the door. Okay, I'm getting 1.8. Then I'm going to take this and I'm going to go to my power, incoming power to the unit. Getting 32.4. So now 32.4. So just minus that 1.8, and then you have what your heat strips are pulling. So on this one, we're looking at slight 2.4. So what, 30.6 is what our actual amp draw is for our 8 kW heat strip. Inside it does have the sticker. It says 7 kW. Of course, you can tell by how the lead's going into it again. So you want to go ahead and put that back. On a heat pump, you still want to check the heat strips. Make sure that the thermostat is calling for auxiliary power, auxiliary heat, so they come on. And do the same thing. Check those amperages and make sure that you fall within its rating. This one here for the 8K, 34.3 to 39.6 is high. We're right under that. We're good. Put your panel back on. Now on a heat pump, there's a few more things that you have to check. You need to check your reversing valve. You want to make sure, because in the heat pump mode, you're going to be running the condenser as well as the heat strip. And so you want to make sure your reversing valve clicks over. You'll easily tell when you have your gauges on there with your high side going down and your low side going up. Pressures are going to vary a lot on heat pumps. Trains tend to run on the high side in the 400s, 450. More of the Goodman's carriers run in the 300s. Just want to make sure that you're not, getting in the 500s. You might have a little too much refrigerant in there. And again, you want to check your TD and your temperature difference when you cross the coil and the heat strips to ensure that you're getting good heat. Outside, when you're checking your contactor and your capacitor, on a heat pump, you want to check your defrost board. You want to just make sure that there's no burn marks on the defrost board. Again, the wiring's good to the defrost board. And that's about it. You can check your reversing valve easily. It's listed right on the schematic. It'll show you where on the board the reversing valve is. You can pull one of the wires off and you'll hear the reversing valve switch over. You can put it back on and you'll hear it switch back. Then you know that your reversing valve is reversing. And that's about it.
Cut.